Many of your redraft leagues have probably already concluded and you're focusing on week 1. While this might not be a start-sit video, who's got the week 1 juice and who has the best matchups, the journey and quest to build and compete for a fantasy championship is not over yet. So whether you're waiting to draft, your draft has already been complete and you're waiting for week 1, allow me to give you 5 players that we should be monitoring and trying to add on our rosters before week 1 even starts. For all my friends out there that play in some serious competitive leagues at home with league mates that know a lot about ball, there's a chance they may not be following up on some of these guys. So let's roll. First up is a running back. Plays for the Washington Commanders. Tell me if you've heard this one before, because he's poised for a breakout season. I got you for a second. Come on. Chris Rodriguez is the player we need to stash on our rosters before week 1 starts. The Commanders, as we all know, have moved off of Brian Robinson Jr., traded him away to the San Francisco 49ers, and now the running back room will be Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, Austin Eckler, and lastly, Chris Rodriguez. Whether it's Bill in round 9, Austin Eckler in round 13. Chris Rodriguez really isn't getting picked up on the draft board these days. Someone that's filled in for Brian Robinson Jr. in the past when he's been out due to injury. Chris Rodriguez we know has delivered at the next level already and will probably be the guy they go to in short yardage situations. And as we project, the Washington Commanders should be a strong offense, which means depending on how many times they get down to the red zone, may or may not be Chris Rodriguez's name being called to punch in for 6. This could easily be a backfield that's 2 guys playing, neither one of them are that fantasy relevant. If all 3 of these guys play and none of them are starting worthy, if we're gonna draft Bill there and Austin Eckler a few rounds after, we need to be at least taking a flyer with our last pick on Chris Rodriguez. He's the RB61 on Underdog. Chances are your league mates probably don't even know who he is. I would consider giving Chris Rodriguez a flyer late in your drafts. Next on this list is Jalen Coker, wide receiver of the Carolina Panthers. Why I believe this is an important one to monitor and make sure that if we have the roster spot, we add him. If we have the free draft pick at the end of our drafts, we're taking a chance on Jalen Coker. The Carolina Panthers are telling us before our eyes they have a better wide receiver room than we think. Letting go of Hunter Renfrow. Potentially looking to shop around Adam Thielen. When we see reports like Brian Robinson Jr. is being shopped around, it's because they believe Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt is going to be someone that can handle the workload. When the Carolina Panthers are shopping around Adam Thielen, chances are they believe strongly in what they see from Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette. It's definitely a long shot for Jalen Coker to crack your fantasy football lineups, but with most of these players that we draft at the end of our fantasy football drafts, a lot of these guys could potentially go to waste. But the team that has both Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette believe that they can get rid of wide receivers. They don't have to roster as many guys because they believe in the ones that are on the team. So while I've been already banging the drum to take a late round flyer on Xavier Legette, that opportunity has passed you. You've already drafted. Somebody took him. You're about to start week 1. I'm going to say go ahead and take a flyer on Jalen Coker if you're looking to use your roster spot. Keeping it here for wide receiver, one more wide receiver that I'm very interested in at least monitoring if I'm not adding before week 1 starts. Troy Franklin of the Denver Broncos has had a great preseason camp so far, and the Denver Broncos have made this clear with their actions of trading Devon Vele to the New Orleans Saints. Courtland Sutton is the one. We know that. We project a big season for Evan Ingram. I'm not saying if you draft Evan Ingram, you're getting a bust, but there's a pathway where that doesn't work out, right? The wide receiver depth chart behind Courtland Sutton is so hazy that just because Marvin Mims is labeled as the second guy behind Courtland Sutton doesn't mean he's ultimately the one to win out that job. A lot of experts project a breakout from Marvin Mims, so that's why people draft him where he's going. And also, we've heard a lot of talks about Pat Bryant being special, potentially being a wide receiver that makes his way up in the depth chart. But both of these players have realistic ADPs where they're being drafted off the board already. So here comes Troy Franklin sitting on your waiver wire, and he could potentially be the second wide receiver behind Courtland Sutton in this offense. Yes, this team will most likely run more than they throw, but the idea of taking a late round flyer on Troy Franklin and the possibility of him continuing to grow as a wide receiver, I'm going to bet on this year 2 player who's developing into something to maybe scratch his way onto the field this year. A long shot for sure, but I'm all about taking chances and high risks. But in this case, and luckily, Alec Iamaner of the Tennessee Titans is not high risk at all, and the reward could be very promising. We know Calvin Ridley is the wide receiver 1 here. Tyler Lockett is still here. Yes, he's going to make it very difficult for Alec Iamaner to get on the field. But if Calvin Ridley were to miss time, if there was some need for a wide receiver to play out wide across from Calvin Ridley, if that opportunity were to arise, Alec Iamaner is a playmaker, somebody that should not go unnoticed and could be a very good wide receiver for the future of the Tennessee Titans. Again, this is probably somebody that your league mates don't even know about. Rookie wide receiver, has potential to be a number 2 wide receiver in this Titans offense. No, the Titans offense is not heavily desired or wanted in fantasy, but this could be an opportunity that blossoms into something greater than we imagine. Finally, going back to the Carolina Panthers, running back Rico Dowdle, while he may just be a backup to Chuba Hubbard, I view as a real threat to potentially steal some carries away from Chuba Hubbard. But Chuba Hubbard was a top 10 running back in fantasy last year and they just paid him. Why on earth would you think that Chuba Hubbard's going to take a step back? Well, let's look at the Carolina Panthers situation last year in 2024. They were waiting for Jonathan Brooks to come back, and until then, they really only had Chuba Hubbard to rely on in terms of volume, and luckily, he did churn out his best season in terms of yards per carry, but Rico Dowdle for his career is still a more efficient running back in terms of that stat. And to add a bonus to it, Rico Dowdle is a more explosive receiving back than Chuba Hubbard is. Not saying Rico Dowdle is going to get 70% of the snaps and Chuba Hubbard's going to be a backup, but expect Rico Dowdle to play 30-35% of snaps and be active in the offense when he's on the field. I don't think the Carolina Panthers went out in free agency to sign a 1,000-yard runner who's more efficient in his career yards per carry wise than Chuba Hubbard to use him as break glass in case of emergency when Chuba Hubbard gets hurt. So I believe Rico Dowdle, especially in a PPR league, has some serious fantasy upside, and nobody's drafting him. Yes, your league mates know this name, but they don't know the opportunity that could be in front of us. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Those are my 5 players I'd like to see you guys add before week 1. Something that I'm very high on in fantasy football is making sure that I'm adding the waiver wire guys the week before, so that when Tuesday rolls around, I don't have to worry about bidding fab to get the guy. I already know that I tried to take a chance and I landed and hit correctly. It's not always going to be a successful strategy, but there is going to be that one time it pans out. What if you were the one last year that sniped J.K. Dobbins before everyone had a chance to even bid on him? That's the next level mentality that we need to have. Outlier Militia, thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. If you're new here, you like fantasy football content, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. And if you've been part of Outlier Militia, you like this content, make sure you smash that like button for your boy. That's all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Turtle. This is Outlier Fantasy, and I will see you in the next video. Wow, you stuck to the end of this video? Thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you check out one of these videos on the screen right now. And don't forget, before you leave, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any fantasy football videos on this channel. That's all I got for you guys. I'll see you in the next one.